Hello everybody, thank you for being here. You are just start learning about upholstery, or do you know the basic how to use the sewing machine? On this video will give you a basic idea how you can make a seat cover for a big truck seat. To make this seat cover, you have to know the basic about how to use the sewing machine. And then the rest you will see how do I made it. This is just an idea. I will start taking them apart. You can see how I take them apart. I will prepare the phone, cutting and sewing and install the new cover. All that will be on this video. If you don't know how to start and how to cut, well, just pay attention to the video. Just remember, you have to know the basics, how to use the sewing machine. The rest I will show you how you can do it on this video. I will start taking them apart. In case if you think you are not going to remember how all those pieces are attached together, take photo or take video. That way you will remember how to put everything back. This is the seat you see. I am taking the old cover. I don't need the old cover, especially the bottom cushion, because it's all coming apart. I'm going to replace the phone like the way I see it. That phone is not good, and it's better for me to replace the phone for the bottom cushion only. And I see the backrest. I will use the same cover as a pattern, the back piece and the side. The front panel I will cut it by the phone. You have to decide when you have to use the old pieces as a pattern. If you see the old pieces have been trimmed, you make sure to correct before you cut in the new one. Never cut the new pieces by the old one if the old one have been trimmed a lot. First correct. I prefer cutting by the phone when it's shrinking, when it have been shrinking. I already take the cover off and I paint the frame, as you can see right there. It is very important to paint it. You don't have to paint it, believe me, except if the customer asks you to paint it, or if it is yours and you want to paint it. Well, clean it first, sand it first, and then use a metal paint. After I paint it, I'm going to use the same phone. This is a good phone. It is hard phone. And I am using a glue gun. You can do all this by hand. In case if you don't have one, go buy the glue on those places where there is like upholstery supplies. Buy the glue and then buy a brush and do everything by hand. The foam that I'm going to use, the density is 3.0 pound of density. It's hard foam. It's for bottom cushion. This foam for the limb backrest is too hard, but some customers want this kind of foam on the backrest, so I do what the customer want. Then I put glue, and I put glue a lot. This is the first layer. This is 1-inch foam. It's a hard foam, and it needs for the bottom cushion, so that's okay. Most of the time I use this kind of foam for bottom cushion. If you have been watching my videos or follow my channel, you know I use this foam a lot. So because the shape of the bottom cushion, I have to sand it right there. And look, I am sanding with this kind of, it's a cheese grater. I have a power tool, electrical and air tool, but I don't want to use it. I am doing everything by hand. That way you can do it. In case if you don't have that tool, that's not an excuse to not do it. You know, I use my power tool on here and I do this fast, and I am using a knife to cut the foam. And I will put glue. I am seeing because the outside was like a little bit higher than the center, so I had to get the same shape. I put this layer and I draw that line in there. That line is like a matching with the backrest line, and I have to sand it right there. It takes time if you will do it by hand, but that's one of the ways how you can do it when you don't have a power tool. I have a video how do I make this kind of tool that I am using. So now I just cut it a little bit. And see, and start getting the shape. Just a little by little. And I have to do a little bit more, because it has to be kind of exactly like the old one. Of course, this one will be new. So I will add a piece of foam right there, but look how I'm going to cut it. Tape it out, and I use one piece from the left and the other piece for the right. And with this, I will get the right shape. So now I will add one more layer of 1 inch, but this is 2.5 millimeter or 2.5 pound of density. So with this layer, I will get the right height. I just have to trim all around. Now I just will cut it. The width of this phone is 24 inches, so that's the remainder of 24 that I just cut it. And right there, I just give it like 1 inch extra, 1.5 inches. And I cut it now 1 inch. So I got this already, and it had the right height. I just have to sand it a little bit to make sure those curves or angles are as smooth as possible. You don't want to see any bump because it will reflect on the new cover. So as soon as I'm done preparing the phone, I can start cutting or drawing the design. If you are going to use the same cover, now it's time to start cutting. But if you're gonna make a new design, it's time to start drawing. I will make something close to the old one. So I will divide that bottom cushion by 2. And then the center piece will be 10 inches done. 10-inch width done. The backrest will be 10 on the bottom and will be 9 on the top. Because as you can see right there, it's not straight. So I draw a line, the backrest 2. And then done, the center piece will have 10 inches. And it has to match the bottom cushion with the backrest. Has to match those lines. So I got the design. It's nothing fancy. It is something easy to do it. And I am cutting right there. See, it's 10 inches, but when I cut the insert or that panel right there, I will give 11 for the sequence allowance, ½ inch. So 11 by 24, I will cut 2 pieces. I will put a ½ inch as a backing, ½ inch font. And this is the ½ inch. That will be only on the insert. The size of the bottom cushion and the size of the lean back and the will be 1/4 font. Make sure to put enough glue. Don't put it too much, except if you're going to sew diamond. Make sure to put a lot of glue. That way when you are sewing, you don't want those during the sewing process to unglue and then move those lines. You don't want that to happen. I got those two pieces, and I just making sure because I will put a stitch across. I will put a stitch across on top, then I will get like sewing underneath, because I don't want that seam to show it. So this is ready to sew in. This is 1/4. This will be for one piece for the cushion and the other piece for the backrest. I will trace it by the phone. So I have it right here. I'm just gonna show you one. This is the center piece. And when you're going to start sewing, make sure your machine is in good condition. Why? Because you don't want to start fail, skipping or break the thread on the middle of the seam. You don't want that. So make sure to put oil, any adjustment if you have to do it before to start sewing. So I am making the stitch a little bit longer right here. You saw me pressing that button. And I will put extra material on the bottom just for the pull, because I have to pull it, that part right there. And I will cut it before to the end, like a 1/2 inch. So I got this piece. I'm just going to show you one, and I will take it to the table. So I will cut the extra right there. So I got the phone right here. Now it is time to start cutting, and I will cut the bottom cushion, everything by the shape of the phone. I am not going to use nothing about the old one because it's not in good condition. So you will see how I cut it. Just remember, if you never done something like this is just an idea that I am giving you how you can cut. If you see somebody else cutting differently or doing a different process, but at the same he have or she have a nice result, that's okay. It's just a different style, different technique how to work in upholstery. See, I cut it, then I give like a 1/2 inch extra. Why the 1/2 inch? Because when I am sewing, those pieces I will take in 1/2 inch. So now I'm doing the same with the backrest, and I will give extra too. And the backrest is not straight. So I just draw a line to making sure, because it's not straight. You see on the bottom, I just go like on the top is 9 inches, and on the bottom is 10 inches. So it's less on the top. I got this one already, so the 2 inches are done. Now I'm going to cut the side panel. To cut the side panel, even the layer is straight, but this panel is not straight. A lot of people think because those layers are straight, this piece must be straight, and it's not, because the shape of the seat phone. So you just put glue or put some weights on top or a upholstery pin, that way this piece doesn't move it, and start tracing that material by the black line. And you can see right there, it's not straight. If you cut them straight and a stretchy vinyl, that would be okay. But if you cut them straight on the vinyl that it doesn't stretch, would create a lot of wrinkle, and that thing wouldn't look good. So I got this one, and I will cut the other side by this one. I don't need to trace the other side by the phone, no. I only trace one side. And this is an easy cushion. It's not a hard project. See? And I cut the other one. Same thing. It's the same piece, same side, but the opposite side. So I got the bottom cushion, but I had to cut the band. Sometimes when I am short of material, I make the band on 3 pieces, or when the band is not width enough. But this it is long enough, so I will make a cut right there, and then I will sew those cutting back. I am cutting the band by the edge of that phone, so now I'm just cutting with 1/2 inch extra. Okay, now it is time to cut the backrest, and look at that piece right there. Have like a special shape in there. Well, my video didn't record it, but I just showed you that part. My camera didn't record that section, but I just showed you in there. How did I cut it? It's nothing to hide it. Just put them on top and draw by the edge of the phone and by the black mark, by the black line. So, and I do the same right here. On this one I don't give extra because I already have by the piece that I just cut. So those pieces are ready to sew in, but I am not done cutting. I will cut the rest of the lean back pieces, and I had this piece. So this vinyl have a headliner phone 1/4. So I'm going to use the old pieces to cut the side, as I told you before, and I just give it like 1/2 inch extra. Why I am using this piece? Because I am not changing nothing about the design right here. That's what I'm using the same. Plus the piece is in good condition that I can use it for as a pattern. And cutting and giving like 1/2 inch. This is the back of the back. So this is the last piece. Then after this I will take it to my sewing machine and start putting together all those pieces. And I'm going to, the hardest to sew in is the limba because it has so many pieces, but it's, I would say harder on this seat, but compared to some other seat, this is easier. See, I am putting those pieces together. This is the seat. This is the pan of the seat. Okay, now I am folding this and I am sewing because I don't want to, I want a nice finish right here. I don't want nothing to see it. And then I trim. I want that piece flat as possible. You see that mark? This piece, that stitch is not necessary. Sometime I put it, sometime I don't. Make sure that match with the stitch, with the seams, or the way it will look crooked. See that wrinkle? Don't worry about wrinkle. Some wrinkle when you're sewing look like if it, see that piece is done, but I saw some wrinkle in there, but don't worry. When you install the cover, you have to stretch it and that wrinkle must come out. This is the tail that I am sewing. And the insert is done, so now I have to sew the side panel, and I just find the center and put those marks together. You see the center mark? It has to line up. If you don't have a practice in sewing this might be hard for you, but just be patient. The most important thing is those marks line up. Now I have to put a top stitch. To put a top stitch, it is like you have to have a skill, because right here you have to have two things on my. First, the stitch you have to go straight, and then you have to pull the material to the side with the needle. See, I'm pulling to the side. always you have to do this when a tap stitch. If you don't have like a experience or skill putting a tap stitch, just leave it like with normal stitch. And this bottom cushion cover, the sewing process is done. But I am not going to start right now. I'm going to sew the backrest, and I put that stitch in there. I will replace the bobbin before keep going. The bobbin that I use is a D92. It's a polyester. Sometimes I use sangar, especially on boat when I am doing a boat interior and sewing marine vinyl. I use sangar. So I'm going to put this panel together with the center insert. And I'm going to do the same thing with the other side. So now I am closing that box and I am sewing the side. And I will put a tap stitch on that piece. But first I will sew this. If you notice, I didn't put a notch in there, didn't put mark, because it's small pieces. But if you don't have experience like sewing even small pieces, put a mark in there. That mark will guide you. Sometimes when you put a mark, you sew those pieces crooked, and the color will look weird if you don't put mark. And I am putting a tap stitch right here, as you can see. When you put a tap stitch and you use a same color thread as a vinyl, if you sew it crooked, it will notice, but not that much like if you put a different color thread. For example, I use a black vinyl. If I put like white thread or yellow thread, any little mistake on that tap stitch will notice from far away, like it's more notable. This is the back panel, and I'm putting a stitch because I'm going to fold it. Even if I don't put like a stitch in there, it will fold it, but I prefer putting a stitch. Now I just find the center, fold it by half. I need that notch because to start sewing. And I'm going to start sewing from that end. and the sewing process is done. So now I have to take it to my table and start mounting this cover. I cut them right there. First thing that you have to make sure is if you want to put plastic, that way the cover will slip, will fix better, do it. But sometimes it is necessary, sometimes it don't. I pull the material through it because I'm going to pull it, because without the material won't get the right shape of the seat. So first I need to know if this cover is gonna fit perfect. It will, but I just give you like an idea. You have to remove it later because I'm going to put glue. And look like it's fixed perfectly. So now I just remove it, and I will apply glue on the vinyl, then on the metal. This cover was only with glue, and I'm going to put some kind of click to hold that in the metal. With glue will hold strong, but I don't want to take risk that later on might unglue it. That's what I would put some click. So I put glue in there. Now I just mounted the cover. I start from the front, see, and pull it. How much you're going to pull it? Just that's necessary. I am not pulling that much because this one is strong. And I put it in a hand ring right there. If you don't have a hand ring plier, you can buy this in any upholstery supply or buy it online. When you buy a hand ring plier, you have to buy the hand ring too. See, then I am pulling, and right there on the bottom, if you saw me removing that part, it was only with glue, but I will put some click like a dust click. I don't know if you haven't seen a Hastings Healy. Those kind of seat, Hastings Healy seat come with click, so I will use the same kind of click for this part, but that will be at the end. But I got it, it's done. I just have to put those click. So now I will start installing the backrest. The backrest, it is easier than the bottom cushion. And I go a little by little. And it's fixed perfect in there. So now I have to put this extra material that I sewing for the pull. And I'm going to put a staple on the back. I'm going to pull it, but remember, do not pull it too much. Just enough to get the right shape. I'm going to pull it, and I'm going to hold that piece against the metal with some hand ring. It come with glue before, and I'm going to see if I pull it too much. I'm going to remove those hand ring, because like I said before, don't pull it too much. Sometimes I do put plastic on the backrest, that way the cover can sleep better, but sometimes I don't. When you put the cover, remember to play with it. When I say play, make sure to pull it, adjust the cover by pulling. Make sure it's not crooked, make sure it line up with the bottom cushion, those stitches. So now I will put some wire right here because I need to hold the back piece with the front piece insert. And I hold, you can see right now I just put the track on the bottom cushion. That's it, come with track, and you can see those click in there, just 3 click in the front part, and I put 3 on the sides. So this seat is done. I'm just going to clean it and put one more plastic in there. Sometimes I use gasoline and lacquer thinner to clean, but to remove the glue. But this one it doesn't have glue, so I just will clean it with water. Sometimes when you clean the vinyl or leather with lacquer thinner, you will remove the paint. So it is not necessary to use lacquer thinner on vinyl. You can use a gasoline, a cheapy gasoline, to remove the glue, but I prefer sometimes not to use. That way when you spray glue, you have to be careful, do not spray glue on the material, because at the end you have to remove that glue. I just clean it, and I had to put a plastic in there. That plastic is for the lumbar. I just hit a little bit, making sure that plastic is in, and this seat is done. You can see it right there on the picture, the one from the left, that's how it was before, and look right now how it is. Those stitches align, and that's excellent. That's the way it should be at the end. I just give you an idea, guys, if you are learning about upholstery, how you can make a seat cover and repair the font. This seat, it is not hard to do. It is easy compared to some other one, but in case before you get hard, just be patient, relax, and watch the video over and over. And you have, remember, you have to know the basic skill about how to use in the sewing machine. Other way will be impossible to make this cover. So thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you enjoy it. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Any comment, leave it in the comment section of this video. Thank you, and see you in the next video.